if you could tell us about what symptoms you were experiencing, how your hip felt, and sort of, I suppose not just how your hip felt, but where you were in terms of your thoughts about your hip and what was likely to happen with your hip.
It was always stiff, often painful, and I thought it was going to be a steady decline. I thought it would just get worse, actually. So I stopped doing certain activities, sports, badminton, and tried to look after it the best way I thought.
And before the programme, what were your thoughts about the best way to look after your hip?
To protect it, really, not to wear it out anymore, and just to take things more sedately.
And so if that was how you were before the programme, talk about your experience of the programme. You know, what did you learn, what did you experience that changed that mindset and changed your views on your hip pain?
I learned the opposite, that I should be using it and not to be afraid of exercise, and probably more the better, really, and just to try different things, not to be afraid of it.
And had you ever been spinning before? Had you ever got on a static bike before?
I had been spinning before, yes, but there was no way I was going to do that, feeling the way I did. I thought actually that was probably the worst thing to do.
And so, taking you from thinking it was the worst thing to do,
now it's the best.
How did you feel after sort of week 6 when you're doing a sort of full spin class, you know, as part of the programme?
It was amazing. It was comfortable. It was something that I wanted to always do, you know, and I have done. I continue to do that.
Fantastic. So before I ask you about what you're doing now in terms of your management of your hip, how did it change your symptoms, the chain program? And so how did your hip change in terms of how it felt and the things that you were able to do?
Well, sleeping was probably top of the list. Sleeping was patchy, and every time I moved I would wake up. I used to sleep with a pillow between my knees to try and ease the pain in my hips, and I don't even think about it now, actually. I couldn't lay on my back, but I wouldn't say I sleep on my back, but I certainly can do that now, yes, and I have a good night's sleep, which is so important to everything else, you know.
Yeah, fantastic. So your sleep improved. Any other improvements?
Walking my dog. I can take him on a proper walk now. Sport. I've had a go at some other sports, aerobics and Pilates, which have been fine. I haven't chosen yet what it is I want to do, but I know I can. I feel that I can do that now instead of being frightened of it.
Fantastic. So you're describing how you feel much more empowered to make decisions.
Yeah, I'm in control now.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
And the programme's finished, and you mentioned that do you still spin, or you go on a bike now?
Yes, I do. I cycle about 3 times a week.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I haven't. There's been a couple of times when I haven't cycled, and I know that I miss it. I need to keep cycling.
Fantastic. So what would your advice be for people that were thinking about the chain programme, or were going to be referred to the chain programme, but were in your position and perhaps thinking, well, actually that sounds completely the opposite of what I should be doing for your hip?
Yes, it does. I think it does sound completely the opposite of what you want to do, but it really isn't. It is empowering, and it's life-changing, so go for it. Fantastic. It's nothing to lose, is what I'm saying. It may not be a cure-all, but there's nothing to lose, absolutely.
And in terms of the things that you learnt as part of the education and advice session, obviously the main thing being that actually more exercise is good for your hip rather than doing less exercise. Were there other things that you learnt as part of those sessions that you found particularly useful, or was that the main thing?
I learned that I was taking all sorts of pain relief when I needed it, which was often, and that isn't the way I couldn't tell you now, but there's a progression of pain relief, and that was very useful. There's no need to overdose on or to take these things willy-nilly. Just start with the paracetamol, and for me that was enough, actually. I didn't have to go on to the other ones.
Fantastic. So that was the advice about, if you are taking an analgesic, how to take it. Exactly. So it's going to be effective.
Yes, it was, it was very good.
Okay. In terms of one last sort of final point, I'm going to ask about your experience of being part of a group. Did you find being in a group helpful?
Yes.
And do you think that has advantages over sort of traditional one-to-one
yes,
care?
Absolutely. If you're a bit shy, then you don't have to worry about that, because you can disappear into the group, that's fine. But also you hear other people's problems and points of view, and you get more from that as well, and it promotes conversation, and it's really useful. It's fabulous.
Fantastic. Any final points or things that you'd like to say about the CHAIN programme?
I think if you get the opportunity, you should try it, absolutely. And if you're not getting the opportunity, you should ask for it, for sure.